Yes, on DUI cases, in fighting them, there's 4 factors that we really focus on. There's the blood alcohol level, the driving, the field sobriety test, and who you are. All of those play a very important role in fighting your case. Usually clients come in and the first question they have though for me is, am I going to lose my driver's license? And the simple answer is, from the court, no. From the DMV, probably for a period of time. Okay, so when you're dealing with a DUI case, there's the 4 factors that we want to look at. Now the first one is the blood alcohol level. Now, one of the things that we want to check in a DUI case is whether your blood alcohol level was rising or falling. What I mean by that is, rising actually helps you. What rising says is that you had your last drink here, you were stopped here, and you were tested here. That means at the time of the driving, your blood alcohol level was lower, and that would help your case. On the other hand, falling is the opposite. You had your last drink here, you tried to do the right thing by waiting, you got pulled over here, and then tested here. It shows at the time of driving, your blood alcohol level was higher. Now, this is the perfect situation for each way. Sometimes it's the middle ground, meaning you had your last drink here, you're stopped here, and you're tested here, and it's the same number. So these are things that we're going to look at. Ideally, to have a rising blood alcohol level from the time of the stop to the time of the test, no more than 1.5 hours should go by, because then you would go into the falling stage. So that's just an idea of what we're going to look at when we're fighting your case. We're also going to check the calibration records of the machines used to test you, and we're going to check the maintenance records. All of those will factor into what your actual blood alcohol level is, and once we know that actual number, we can then fight your case in a more efficient manner. And if you were given blood, they had to save a sample, and we can actually have your blood retested if we feel that it's necessary. The second thing that we look at on DUI cases is your driving. And there's a range of driving. On one end, you have fix-it tickets. On the other end is accidents. So when we're dealing with DUI cases, ideally, the closer you are to this end of the scale, the better it would be in negotiating your case. For example, if you're charged with driving under the influence and there's weaving involved, that would show bad driving, as compared to if you're on the good end with fix-it tickets, meaning you were pulled over for an expired tag or your tail light was out. That wouldn't show any bad driving, and therefore would not support the charge of driving under the influence. So the second factor that we look at in fighting DUI cases is, what is your driving? These 2 factors in dealing with DUIs are the field sobriety test and who you are. And the reason I've grouped these 2 together is because I've listed them in the order of importance, and the blood alcohol level is the most important, the driving is second, and then the third and the fourth really are just kind of the fine-tuning of everything. So the field sobriety tests are the walking the heel to toe, touching your nose, doing the alphabet, counting backwards. And what we look at here is how well people perform the test. And the trick here is, this test is 2 parts. There's the actual performance on the test, meaning how well did you walk heel to toe 9 steps, pivot, turn around 9 steps. And the other part of the test is following directions. For example, the officer is going to say, this is the test, I'm going to describe it for you, I'm going to demonstrate it for you, I'm going to ask you if you understood, and then I'm going to tell you to go. Do you understand all that? Yes. And then he goes to the first test, and he says it's the walking heel-to-toe test, and the person goes, oh, I know what that is, and they go and do it, and they may have done it perfectly, but they failed the test because they didn't follow direction. As far as the actual performance, that's a subjective test where the officer routinely says that you failed. And the reason he says that is he's arrested you for a DUI, and then he's going to go back and write your report. He's typically not going to say that Mr. So-and-so did really well, because that would undercut his arrest of you, and he's human and he wants to support his arrest. So typically they'll say you failed. So it's more a degree of how badly did you fail. Did you fail by swaying an inch off center, or did you fail because you had to lean over and balance yourself on the car? And then the fourth thing in fighting a DUI is who you are. Hopefully this is your first offense, but what did you do in the meantime? Meaning, have you attended some AA meetings? Have you got some counseling? Are you a deacon in your church? Do you volunteer at a Boys and Girls Club? So all these things that make up who you are, your uniqueness, are things that I can take and present to the district attorney to try to negotiate a better resolution of your case.